Inside a small house, Jimmy and his sisters hide in fear. A loud crash shakes the door, then it bursts open. Zombies pour in and attack the children. Jimmy survives only because he slips behind the door at the last second. He sees his mother and sister dragged down by zombies. Panicking, he runs to a nearby church to find his father, a priest. Jimmy urges his father to flee, but the man has accepted his fate and hands over his crucifix as a farewell. Moments later, zombies flood in from every side. Jimmy dives into a basement and watches his father die and turn. 28 years later, a group of survivors lives on Holy Island, a small island cut off by the sea. A boy named Spike lives there with his father James and his mother Isla, who is gravely ill. By island rules, every boy who comes of age must journey to the mainland to see the outside world. On this day, it becomes Spike's turn. Spike is only 12, but James believes he is ready. During breakfast, a crash from the bedroom reveals Isla has dropped a glass. She has been ill for a long time, and without a doctor, no one knows what she has. Upon waking, Isla questions why Spike isn't at school. James explains the plan for Spike's first journey beyond the island. Isla reacts angrily, convinced he is too young. Spike calms her and reassures her that he will be fine. Before they leave, Grandpa Sam gives Spike a bow for protection. As father and son walk toward the gate, the whole community cheers him on and prays for his safe return. At the gate, the leader, Jenny, states the rule clearly. If Spike fails to return for a long time, no search party will be sent. Leaving the island means accepting that risk. Jenny signals to open the gate. Beyond, a narrow causeway stretches across the water, linking island and mainland. James explains it is the only path and can be crossed only at low tide. When the tide rises, the path vanishes beneath the sea. Swimming is not an option. The current would rip any swimmer away. James and Spike reach the mainland and enter a forest. Islanders often gather wood and food here. For Spike, the endless land is a shock. It is the widest space he has ever seen. In the trees, James points out a fat zombie crawling on the ground, a mutated type that eats insects and worms. It looks slow, but it is still dangerous and usually moves in groups. James instructs Spike to take the shot for his first kill, advising him to aim at the neck to end it fast. Spike steadies his hands, draws, and releases. The arrow lands in the neck. The zombie drops. Another zombie lurches from behind. James reacts instantly and drops it with a single arrow. They spot a child zombie next. James almost shoots, then lowers his bow when the child does not attack. He lets it go. James praises Spike for his first kill and urges him onward before more arrive. A herd of deer suddenly crosses their path. Spike is wide-eyed, having never seen so many. They duck into an abandoned house to scavenge. James finds a dusty frisbee, a small and silly moment in a grim world. A strange sound echoes upstairs. Investigation reveals a zombie hanging upside down with a sack over its head. As they step closer, it jerks to life. The sight suggests someone has set a trap, raising the warning that on the mainland, the monsters are not only zombies, but also dangerous people. James orders Spike to dispatch the hanging zombie before it breaks free. Spike trembles, raises his bow, and shoots just as the ropes begin to snap. The arrow hits the head, and the room falls silent. They move deeper into the woods and find blood everywhere around a torn deer carcass. The scene shows the work of a fast zombie, not a slow one. A deer head hangs from a tree, and James freezes. Only an alpha performs such a display, the strongest, fastest kind. James turns them around for a retreat to the island. As they cross a meadow, an alpha appears with a pack behind it. James pulls Spike into the trees as the alpha howls, summoning more. James fires at the pack while Spike shakes and misses.
They sprint to a house and slam the door, but the horde hammers at the walls. James drives Spike up to the attic. They crouch in silence until the noise gone, slipping the net for the moment. A quick count of arrows shows too few left to face an alpha. The tide is high anyway, so they wait for morning and low tide to run. Spike apologizes for missing his shots, but James notes that survival counts as success. Through a broken window, Spike notices black smoke in the distance and wonders if it signals another survivor camp. James dismisses the idea and advises him to ignore it. Night falls. A deer stampede shakes the ground, and the house groans as if ready to collapse. James drags Spike out. With the tide finally dropping, they head for the causeway. At the shore, water still laps over the stones but recedes quickly. Halfway across, a flock of crows erupts into the air. The alpha charges from behind. Spike slips and falls. James hauls him up and pushes him into a sprint. Guards on the island catch the commotion and switch on floodlights. Arrows strike the alpha, yet it keeps coming until a single flaming arrow staggers it and drops the creature to the stones. Guards check James and Spike for bites and wave them through the gate. That night, the community celebrates Spike's return. James recounts an exaggerated tale in which Spike battles dozens alone, drawing cheers that sting the boy who knows the truth. Bitter and bored, Spike slips outside and witnesses his father cheating with another woman. Shock hardens into fury. He runs home where Grandpa Sam keeps watch. Spike unloads his frustration about the lies told in public. He then mentions the distant smoke. Sam recognizes the sign as the work of Dr. Kelson, surprised the doctor still survives. Spike realizes James had claimed all doctors were dead and now understands the lie. The smoke's source was hidden to keep him from seeking help. His anger deepens. When James returns the next day, Spike confronts him about Dr. Kelson. James insists the doctor is mad and off limits. James recalls a time before Spike was born when islanders crossed for supplies and found Dr. Kelson burning corpses, stacking hundreds and setting them alight amid blood and ash. Terrified, they fled and never returned. Spike refuses to yield. His mother is dying while his father strays. A slap ends the argument. Spike retreats to Isla's room, brandishes a knife to force James out, and the man leaves ashamed. That afternoon, Spike sets fire to a storage shed by the gate. As the guards rush to put it out, he slips away with his mother to the mainland. Isla, confused, gradually realizes where she is, and Spike reassures her that he will find a real doctor. They shelter in a crumbling building. Spike promises to keep watch, but dozes off from exhaustion. A fat zombie crawls close and reaches for his neck. Isla, still awake, knocks it down and saves him. At dawn, Spike wakes to the dead zombie nearby, baffled by the gap in Isla's memory when she cannot explain what happened. Elsewhere, a squad of soldiers flees a roaring horde. 3 reach a bunker, but an alpha bursts in, kills 2, and leaves only 1 survivor. Back on the grasslands, blood drips from Isla's nose. Spike wipes it away. A zombie creeps up, and Spike punctures its heart with an arrow. More appear, and he pulls Isla toward safety. They duck into an abandoned gas station heavy with fuel vapors. Zombies push in after them. From the rafters, a soldier opens fire, igniting the gas in a thunderous blast. Spike and Isla dive behind cover and survive. The soldier introduces himself as Eric and urges immediate movement, warning that the blast will draw more. Seeing Isla's weakness, he carries her. He explains his background in the Swedish Navy, the sinking of his ship, and the loss of his comrades. In gratitude, Spike invites him to live on the island once they find Dr. Kelson. Later, Isla shivers and Spike gives him his jacket. When Eric asks about her condition, Spike describes the headaches, the memory lapses, and the erratic behavior, the very reasons they seek Dr. Kelson. Following a cry into a derailed train car, they find a pregnant zombie in labor. Isla assists the delivery of a healthy baby girl and has Spike cut the umbilical cord.
Eric panics and wants the baby abandoned, but Isla refuses because the infant is clearly uninfected. The mother turns feral and Eric ends her. A moment later, something yanks him onto the roof. The Alpha drops back down, holding Eric's head. Spike's arrows fail to slow it, and he pulls Isla into a retreat. A man with red-stained skin fires a tranquilizer dart that halts the Alpha. He reveals himself as Dr. Kelson and explains the iodine staining, used because zombies hate the smell. He retrieves Eric's head from the Alpha's hand and listens to Spike's plea for help. Kelson guides them across a moat-like stream, his defensive ring, and into a camp rimmed with pillars made of human bones. He calls it a memento mori, a reminder that all lives end, infected or not. At the center stands a shrine of skulls, meant to honor the dead and sharpen the value of the living. Kelson burns the flesh from Eric's head to produce a clean skull, and has Spike place it on the shrine. When he asks about the baby, Spike explains her zombie mother origin and her health. Kelson is astonished and concludes the placenta shielded the infant from infection, while noting the urgent need for milk. He initially assumes the baby is the reason for the visit, but Spike asks for an examination of Isla. After a careful check, Kelson's expression darkens. Isla has aggressive cancer that has spread to her brain and through her body, leaving no time and no cure. Isla admits she suspected the truth but feared telling Spike. The boy breaks down and offers to fetch every medicine he can find, but Kelson explains none will help. Isla asks for an end to her suffering. Kelson understands and sedates Spike when the boy fights the decision. Before the medicine takes hold, he reminds Spike of memento mori, that death comes to all and that Isla would die loved. He then delivers a peaceful injection and Isla passes away. They cremate her body. In the morning, Kelson gives Spike Isla's skull and suggests he place it where the view is best. Spike climbs the shrine and sets the skull at the top so his mother can watch every sunrise. That afternoon, the Alpha returns. Kelson and Spike hide with the baby. When the Alpha reaches in, Spike drives a tranq dart into its arm, freezing the monster. Kelson tells Spike to take the baby back to the island, the only truly safe place left to them. Spike crosses the causeway and leaves the baby outside the gate before slipping away again. Jenny finds the basket, brings the baby inside, and hands her to James. A note from Spike explains his plan to explore the mainland and return once prepared. He describes Dr. Kelson as kind and stresses that the baby, though born from a zombie mother, is not infected. He names her Isla. James rushes out to find his son, but Spike has already gone. 28 days later, Spike survives on fish from the river. While roasting one, he drops a zombie with an arrow, then flees as more appear and traps him in a dead end. Another shot buys him a heartbeat of space. A blond man steps from behind the rocks and acknowledges the clean marksmanship. More people emerge, moving like a trained unit, and together they cut through the remaining zombies without fear. When the last body falls, the blond man introduces himself as Jimmy and invites Spike to join his team as a zombie slayer. And that concludes the story of 28 years later.